Well, gentlemen, thanks for taking time. You've both been very busy. I'm seeing the Rob booth packed with everybody. I think it was a big, nice coming out party for y'all.
Yes, we are really happy to be here, so thanks a lot for inviting us. It's the first time that we are in the SRS conference. It's a really big opportunity for us to explain around the world what we develop, the robotic platform that we provide in this really interesting market, so we are really happy to be here.
And I had the opportunity last year when we were in Barcelona. I remember Todd was there already, and I'm going to jump into why you selected of all the things that had run by you, in particular Rob. But it was like, I had just seen the Oppenheimer movie, and I went to your campus, and it was behind the gates, and it had all of like the sheds, right? And you went down that long road, and I'm like, what am I walking into here? And I was blown away by what you have done so far with, from what I've heard on the street, the funding, the low amount of funding that you've delivered a robot that yesterday did a procedure at Nicholson on an animal and is here today. So I want to dig into that a bit, but Mr. Usen, you get lots of shots on goal at bats here. Why this one?
Well, you know, it's interesting. Jaume's put together a great team and the work with this robot, but you're right. I look at robotics and I've had a great exposure to all the companies. I think I've been in the headquarters of all the main robotic companies, working with them, talking, trying to partner with them over the years. But I think it goes back to when I was leading up Olympus, and I thought about our capital equipment was the biggest part of our business. And knowing that the world was going robotics, and we used to have the discussions is, so if we bring on a robot, am I cannibalizing all my businesses in hospitals? Is it worth it? Yes, but it's a big play. All of a sudden, there's a technology that's a single column forearm robot. You can do a fully robotic procedure, yet it takes the existing laparoscopic scope and towers that are in hospitals, whether it's Stryker, Storz, Olympus, Arthrex, Aesculap, doesn't matter. And it aligns itself on the arms of the robot. Jaume and team have put together docking stations that attach right to the arms. It aligns itself right to the console. It knows exactly, I'm using Storz, I'm using Olympus, I'm using Stryker, white light balance, everything's done automatically, and boom, you're basically, I can walk into any hospital right now and say, you spent millions of dollars on capital equipment, and now you're nervous about bringing in a robot? Bring in a robot for a lot less than you bring one in now, and you can get every single piece of robotic surgery that you do today, and you can still do hybrid surgery.
So, it's interesting is, you know, when you led Olympus, you're afraid to cannibalize your business. Better you cannibalize it than somebody else.
Right.
Like J&J and Medtronic running across today in their endosurgery business.
You're right.
So I want to go back to you. You have pulled off and delivered a robot that, from everything I've heard, and it was, I won't say who it is, but there was a well-known surgeon on your system, and he loved it, I understand. And so how have you done that with a small team, with a small budget, and maybe not in the epicenter of surgical robotics in Barcelona?
So the idea is that we come from the university, so the project started in 2008 as a part of the project of a research lab in Barcelona. A team that was working in different areas of robotics, but in 2008, during a conversation with the surgeons, they start to work in this space with the goal to try to improve the efficiency of the current robotic platform. So since the beginning of the project, we try to design a new robotic platform with a completely different approach to try to improve the usability and efficiency of this type of technology. So we started in 2008 as a part of the research group, but in 2012, we set up a company as a spin-off of the university, and we start this process step by step, first focused only in the R&D part of the project, and according with how the project was developing. So we join in our team people with more experience in the medtech industry, in clinical experience, in the development, in commercial, with this a big strategy like Todd. So this is a really rational process that we are doing step by step with a really full committed team, with a really few research, but really focused on the goals that we are looking for.
And you bring up a very interesting point, and Dave Rosa said it yesterday. The retention of the core team is so critical because the tribal knowledge that is required, that you want to maintain, as you continue to iterate the system. So what do you think is driving the retention of Rob and its engineers?
Well, I think that for us, we are really happy, we are really lucky because we have a really full committed team. All of them are really focused on the goal that we're looking for. They have the opportunity to live in the first person, in the first line of the project, the goals that we are reaching. So we complete our clinical studies in Barcelona just some months ago with a really good, successful results. So I think that the best way to retain the talent is because all of them are really linked with the goals that we are looking for together.
Is there a procedure in particular that you're going after first, Todd, as you think about commercial?
Well, the first work that the team did was urologists. So they worked with Dr. Perry in Barcelona, had done radical prostatectomy, partial nephrectomy, traditional urological procedures, because that path has been set and laid out first. The company right now is now going and doing general surgery procedures, going into GYN procedures, et cetera. But to go the first pathway for CE mark, which is being submitted within the next week, it's very exciting that the team has completed 18 procedures, urological procedures in Barcelona right now. And so it's with great feedback, and they all obviously had to do very well. The patients have done well, the outcomes have been well. And then when you get the hands of world-renowned urological and general surgeons on this robot and getting a test with it, seeing what it can do, they're very excited about the ease of use of this technology.
Jaume, is this your first SRS event?
Yes, this is my first time here, yeah. I'm really excited.
Yeah, I bet you are. It's like walking through an arcade the other day when you went through all of the robots that are here. I think somebody said there were something like 40 formats here in that area. And just a couple years ago when you and I were here, I think there were 2 or 3.
Right.
So in such a crowded space, what are you thinking about as you, I'm assuming you're going to come to the US. What are you thinking about as you come to the US with your form factor and the sites of care you're going to go after first? So let me hit the commercial guru for that.
One of the advantages is we have to go where the patients are. 30% of operating room hospital revenue is shifting to ambulatory surgical centers, office-based procedures. So right now, for the types of procedures that we can do robotically, if it's shifting to ambulatory surgical centers, we're not competing against the biggest robot in the world. That's not the goal. They're great. They do a wonderful job. And all the major teaching hospitals have robots. They may want to add 2, 3, 4 down the line that we fit that bill really well. But we want to make sure that we're building a procedure-based model. It's not an installed-based model. It's not about how many robots we sell. We can move one robot from the 3 different sites in the same week and get the procedures driven in those sites. The key is ambulatory surgical centers, mid-level hospitals throughout Europe, community hospitals in the US, places that don't necessarily have the access. And it's not always a money thing, because there's much smarter financial models even the big guys are playing with today. But at the end of the day, there's still a cost in unit economics, and we can offer some really good unit economics, and we can bring the traditional laparoscopic surgeon that hasn't done robotics and make it a really easy transition. We use the native trocars. We don't have to train everyone to have robotically placed trocars. We use the trocars that are in the hospital. They place them exactly as they do in a laparoscopic procedure. With right now in hospitals that have lost some staff in the operating room, 3 years ago, Joe, I couldn't tell you that we're going to take someone's job and we're going to have instrument tracking. These guys have instrument tracking. Doctor stands at the bedside, and as she's basically manipulating her equipment, scope's following right away. You don't have to have someone holding the scope, and then she moves over to the console and begins her procedure. We're making it so it's cost effective for everybody and make sure we have access driven by procedures.
And that's interesting because talent has become a big issue in ASCs as well as hospitals. And the ASC psychology of the employee is different than an institutionalized hospital as well. And so I think it's going to be really important that we are sort of supplementing the lack of talent or the lack of labor in these ASC settings. So that's fascinating to hear that we're going to go after that as well. What do you see as the headwinds, as the resistance coming into the market right now? Start with you, Jaume.
Well, I think that if we could improve the usability of this type of platforms or the robotic platforms, is a key point. So The training curve is really important. So of course the investment in equipment, but this is something that we can avoid with our model of pay-per-use model. But the training and the process, that takes a lot of time. So I think that's a really important barrier. So with our platform, we simplify a lot the usability of our platform. We could reduce in just a few hours the training process. So all the staff involved in the operating will know how to manage our platform in just a few hours. So this is the thing that's really important to introduce our platforms in the new hospitals.
So and some of the pure headwinds walking into a market is, you just said it before, there's 45, 50 different robots here. Why you guys? You know, okay, the 5 just got launched, or these other big, huge companies are going to come into the space at some point. Well, I believe it's actually, we're going where access is. We're going where the patients are going, and that's not actually happening. So we're going to have to prove that we can seamlessly walk into an ambulatory surgical center, a large hospital, add room number 2, 3, 4, be portable, move around. Everyone says, oh, we're this, we're that. I mean, you know, I joke, like I said, well, you need modularity. You need, well, a 4-arm robot. You can do it with 2 arms. You can do it. End of the day, we didn't try to reinvent the robot. A single column 4-arm robot has done pretty well right now in this world. Yeah. So, okay, we're going to use that. Laparoscopic technology, whether you want to go 4K, advanced visualization, you know who does it really well? Stryker, Storz, Olympus, Arthrex, that's what they specialize in. So we don't have to reinvent that. So let's take advantage of the tools that are out there right now, put it together, bring it into hospitals, drive some access, give accessibility to everybody. But the headwind is, okay, you got to prove it. And you're a European company, why are you going to come in? How are you going to get in the US? You're going to get in the US because of performance.
Well, it seems like most of the form factors of robotics are coming from outside the US these days. Let's leave China aside for a second. Yeah. I'm going to say that, right? I just don't think China's going to get traction in the US for a number of reasons, cyber security, FDA. So that really shrinks the number of available robots out in the playing field. So what do you see happening over the next 24 months for Rob? What are the milestones, maybe not in order, but as chairman and as the leader of the organization, what are your goals and milestones you're going to be meeting?
We have really clear the goals or the milestones for the next 24 months. Of course, the first one is to reach the CE mark that, as Todd said, we will do the submission in a few weeks. So we will receive probably the CE mark at the end of 2024 or during the first quarter of 2025. In parallel, we will start a new clinical study to expand the intended use of our robotic platform. Now we will do the first submission in urology, but we have to expand the intended use in general surgery and gynecology. And in parallel, we are progressing to building our digital ecosystem. We have we develop several artificial intelligence tools to join with our robotic platform to improve the safety and the performance of the surgeon. So this is one of our goals. And of course, in terms of the university industrialization process. So we need to have to build the capability to bring robots around the world since our own facilities and working with partners to expand the industrialization process.
Yeah, right now you do the development and the manufacturing and the assembly. Because when we were there, they were just transitioning over to the facility, the clean room, when we were there, I don't know, about a year ago maybe. And so, Todd, would you add anything to the calendar over the next 24 months?
Yes, and I think Jaume is somewhat humble. There's no way I'm joining any company in robotics if they're not going to talk about advanced visualization and the things that we need, advanced visualization, AI. Jaume and team have patented medical imaging to make sure that they can identify key critical structures and actually have, it's almost a geofencing idea, and the physician will feel the resistance by pushing something through a place they shouldn't go. Actually, that's a new patent that the team has had. The AI implications in the collection of data is ongoing work that the team is constantly upgrading the talent pool inside, because you can't just come out with, it doesn't matter how many arms and all this, hardware is hardware. You have to deliver something on the other end, and the team is clear milestones and how we're going to take this patent and how we're going to protect surgeons from critical structure identification moving forward, advanced visualization, and then taking advantage of the partnership opportunities with all these companies that do already great. Being an open platform, we can get the best of these geniuses out there and making sure we're partnering the right way.
Well, it's an exciting time for you. You certainly picked one of the top franchise players to help you navigate that as well. So I'm
Sure.
excited for you. And I think I'll be back to Barcelona in the next 12 months, so I'm going to have to come and see what the Oppenheimer's has.
We'll see several changes there.
On its head.
Yeah.
I appreciate both
That's
your
great.
gentlemen's time today.
Thanks, Joe.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
I'm Joe Mullings from SRS 2024. Be well.